This is Susan Morgan of Mystic Dream, and also I'm the host and one of the presenters at Contact 2022 in Sedona this May 19th through the 22nd. And I am thrilled to welcome Brad Olson today, who will be a speaker there a couple of days on two different subjects that are very near to and dear to him. But first, thank you, Brad, so much for taking the time to do this quick interview right now and to let everyone know a little bit more about you, even though you're pretty well known in the field. But for the people that don't know about you, what can you say?
Well, thanks for having me on and being a part of this conference in Sedona. I'm really looking forward to it. So great to always go back to the Red Rock Canyon and so many enlightened people there, and love to share my information with a receptive audience. And I'm a author of 10 books, including 3 in the Esoteric series. The latest one is Beyond Esoteric, Escaping Prison Planet, which has my information on Antarctica and black goo and some other things that I'll be talking about in that presentation. I was able to travel down to Antarctica about 3 years ago. So I'm the only researcher I know in this field that's actually been there. So,
well, let me just stop you real quick right there. Can anybody just go to Antarctica? Because my understanding is that you can't, but maybe I'm wrong about this.
Well, I did. And
so you just got like a ticket to go to Antarctica, like you can get an airfare ticket?
Well, so where I went was a city called Ushuaia, Argentina. And there was the opportunity to get on a cruise ship there.
Right.
There was also the opportunity to fly in and then get on a cruise ship. But I was fortunate enough to be able to get on a sailboat, and that extended twice as much time down there as going on a cruise ship. So I spent 26 days on that sailboat, getting down there, and then 15 full days in Antarctica, and then coming back took a while because we were going against the wind.
Right.
There was no problem at all being able to go down there. We did submit our passports to the Argentinian control, and so it was really weird. I got stamped out of Argentina, which I was already stamped into. We went on the 26-day trip, and then I got stamped back into Antarctica. So there was for 26 days, I was like in no man's land, which
because nobody owns Antarctica, right?
That's
like,
right.
No,
so
that's
and
it.
I do talk about this in my presentation, that there is the Antarctica Treaty and that people are allowed to go down there. It's even written into the treaty that it would be open for tourism exploration. Now, I will just preface by saying that where I went is the northern tip of the Palmer Peninsula. It's where the two fingers meet. South America and Antarctica is the closest way to get to Antarctica, and perhaps 90% or more of all tourists that go to Antarctica go to this location. So it could be that they'll let you go there. And we were able to just jump on a Zodiac boat and go ashore and visit penguin colonies or watch the whales and stuff. So I talk about all this in the presentation, but there was at no point any restrictions that I felt that limited where we were able to go in the sailboat or on our dinghy. So maybe.
And you did not feel unsafe? You didn't feel unsafe at all?
Well, no, I did feel
Okay.
unsafe as far as the very rough seas that we had to traverse to get down there. But once we were there, it was smooth sailing, and what an experience to see the frozen continent. It didn't even feel like being on Earth anymore. I'd say it's about as close as you can get to an off-planet experience right here on Earth.
Wow. I think I would love to go there. So I don't want you to give away too much information of what you saw, because you've got the book and you'll be doing a presentation and people can come see you at the event called Contact 2022. But that said, do you have a feeling, the big question for me would be, and probably for a lot of people, were there any off-planet beings there? Did you get a sense of that?
Well, I got a sense that there was a lot that was hidden out of sight. That 99% of the continent is covered with ice, and it's also the most volcanic continent in the world with 91 known volcanoes. So if you wanted to hide somewhere here on planet Earth, the deepest depths of the oceans or what's under the ice in Antarctica would be the best place to go, because very, very few people even get down there. And then in the winter months, which is starting there right now, in our spring is their fall,
Right.
there's only 1,000 people on the entire continent. So it is fifth largest continent in the world, and nobody's down there who would be able to tell if there was something going on under the ice.
And what do they call themselves? Because they're not really a country. So what are they, like
Well,
the thousand people that are living there?
those are the people that are the skeleton crew on all the bases, and there are
Okay.
dozens of bases down there, and people have to stay year round at some of them just to keep everything in operation, keep the pipes flowing so everything doesn't freeze over.
Have you
But it's a
heard of,
lonely existence. I've met people who have stayed over winter, and it's real tough to be in total darkness for 4 months if you were at the South Pole.
right. Now, have you heard the new information coming out on Gaia? There's a interview with, well, with Emery Smith, but they're talking about things that were found in Antarctica, including a container the size of a football field that is filled with different biological entities of all sizes. Have you heard this? This is brand new.
Brand new. I have not heard it. I know Emery Smith personally, and
Yeah.
we've shared notes. There are continually stories coming from there, not even of the fantastic sort, but even, for example, Antarctica is heating up. It was 70 degrees above normal temperature just
Wow.
2 months ago. So things are happening down there. There really is climate change, but then there's parts that are warming up and melting, and then other parts of Antarctica that are actually cold and freezing. And I'll show a map from NASA that shows those regions that are heating up very rapidly and others that are cooling off very rapidly.
And that's not how nature usually works. So my sense is if something's heating up, there's something underneath there heating it up or
We hear
accelerating the heating up process. So yeah, I'm very fascinated by Antarctica.
mm,
And just because it is neutral, truly neutral on the planet, or it's supposed to be, it's kind of like it's like one part of the earth that we've agreed to that it belongs to everybody and nobody simultaneously. That already makes it, fascinating. Okay, so another thing that you're going to talk about at the event is about the hidden esoteric, but hidden like not so hidden, if we know what we're looking for. So what got you involved with that?
well, I just love all that has been hidden from the human race to try to understand it. And of course, that's what I chronicle in my 3-book series on esoteric subjects. I never repeat my information. So all 3 of these books have this esoteric information because all that has been hidden will be revealed. And I reveal what is so obvious, hidden in plain sight, in my presentation that is brand new. I've only given it one time before, and it's called The Hidden Esoteric in Plain Sight. And it's kind of one of those things, once you see it, you'll never forget it. And kind of
Exactly.
like the magician's trick, once you see how they pull the rabbit out of the sleeve and you go back to the show the next day, you'll watch how they do it and you'll see it perfectly in plain sight. But until then, it's all very illusionary. And this is what I want to show people is that we've been seeing this stuff all the time, all the while in our lives, and never really saw that there are hidden meanings and hidden agendas that go with a lot of this that has been kept from us.
Well, I like to say this is perfect actually for the event because my focus in having this event, where a lot of these conferences, with all due respect, are people standing up and talking to people so that after a couple of days or whatever, the bulk of the audience may feel like, well, that's interesting for them, but how does that apply to me? Or it doesn't change that much in their day-to-day life. And I'm more interested in an experiential thing. That's why at this conference, we're going to have different meditations. I'm going to do a spoon bending, fork bending class, even to show that really anyone can do it. And why would that even matter? Except for if we could go back in time, and which is what we do, to the beginning of that fork, let's say, when it's soft, you have just a moment or two when it will allow you to bend it. And well, what does that mean about what we can change in our own life? So we need more consciousness on the planet. We're in desperate need of greater clarity and consciousness. And that goes on completely in line with what you are doing. These things are all around us, the symbolism, but we're not conscious. Most people walking around, it's been kept from us. Also, most people weren't interested in it. Anyways, it's not something that, because if you really dug deep a little bit, you could get the information. So this is perfect. It's about raising consciousness. So if you can think of like one thing that you could share that is like all around, I can think of some, but that would be something that people could now look at in a different way and say, oh, is that the symbolism of such and such? I don't want to say anything right now. Can you think of one thing that you could share?
Oh, sure. Well, I'll show you some maps of Washington, D.C.
Oh,
How
yeah.
it was a very planned city. There's no accidents here. And
No,
all the hidden symbolism in the street designs and the way they laid out the parks and the mall
it's
and
loaded.
Freemasonry is very well embedded into our nation's capital and all the symbology that goes with it.
Yeah, that's in a lot of our cities. And then we can say, well, where did the Freemasonry get their symbolism? So that it goes back even to a more Egyptian type beginning. We have these obelisks all over, right? That's
Yeah,
all over the globe.
that's
And,
right.
and they have their own esoteric meaning, which has to do with patriarchy. That's one thing. It's patriarchal symbolism.
Could even say it's kind of phallic or
That's a little
harkening back
phallic. I'm
to
just trying to be very
Egyptian
generic, but
times.
yes, it's very phallic. There's a lot of things very phallic all around. I'm like, oh my God. When the settlers, I'm part Native American, Abenaki and Huron. So I'm going to call them settlers for that, just because that's a nicer way to put it, came here, they said at one point, well, not the original people that they came and invaded, which would have been my ancestors. They were like ground zero of contact, like the Abenaki. They got hit hard. But once they had been here for like 50 or 60 years, the white guys, right? They came in, then they said to the tribes, the more like the Lakota tribe and all, we're going to take your land. We're going to do this, but don't worry, we're going to give you houses. And they're like, we don't need houses. No, we're fine. We're fine. No, we're going to take your land. We're going to give you houses. They gave them square houses, because that was how they were used to things. And the Native Americans, they would be sitting outside the house. They would never go in. And they would be like, hey, we gave you a nice warm house. Go in that. Why are you sitting outside here? They're like, it's square in there. It just doesn't feel right. It's square. And, the feminine is round. And
That's right. And their teepees were round and the Navajo
right.
Hogan building structures were round. And yeah, you change everything in a people's way of living, and then it changes the people themselves and their culture inexorably.
That's exactly it. So, well, is there anything else you'd like us, what kind of a kid were you? How did you get into this?
Well, I've always loved to travel. So I grew up in the Midwest in Illinois, and boy, it's pretty flat there. So we'd go on family ski trips out to the mountains, and I was in Boy Scouts, and we'd go explore around the Midwest, all the really interesting places. And then after college, I just felt, boy, it's a big world out there. I'm not ready to just start a career and start paying bills like a lot of my friends in college with me, and that's what they wanted to do right away. And I said, nah, I think I'm gonna go to Europe and self-finance all my old trips, and painted some houses that summer, made some money, and just went off and went around Europe for 3 months. And boy, was that an eye-opening experience, and really set the pattern for the decades that followed in my life. And I really started in writing as a travel writer. I did quite a few books and travel, including the Sacred Places series. And by the way, I'll bring copies of my books. I'll have them for sale at the conference, so people can see all the books in the esoteric series and my other travel guidebooks and have a look at it that way. And well, by going to these locations, let's say the Great Pyramid, for example, I wrote it up in my Sacred Places Around the World book. There were maps, illustrations, 3 or 4 page write up. But then I realized there's just so much more esoteric information. That kind of got me thinking a really great series of books would be on all the esoteric subjects, not only what you can find in, say, the Great Pyramid, which is in the first book of modern esoteric, but so much more that is in the fabric of the human story. For example, the megaliths that are found around the world, or the elongated skulls which can be found that are not very human-like when you consider that their heads are 30% larger than ours. So, and I do talk about that in my presentation, that you look at all this together and you just see how much has been edited out from the history that we know. And it's not really the reality that it should be, because you don't get a clear picture of the world we live in if you only get a little bit of truth in that. So
That's it. We have a watered down version, and even then it's not accurate, what we've been
yeah,
told. But that's all breaking loose now.
yeah,
And that's the good news. And hopefully even at the conference, my goal is that people will come away with the feeling, and with a deep feeling, not just a knowing, that we're also cosmic beings in a cosmic universe. The cosmos is not out there. We are also the cosmos. We are the embodiment of the cosmos. Our planet is in the cosmos, and there's a lot more to reality, including more living things than just what's on this earth. This earth alone could fascinate us forever if we really knew the truth, and which is what your goal is also, the truth of even Antarctica from an experience, since you had the experience, and even the esoteric that's in front of us all over. We are steeped in hidden esoteric all around us. So I'm really looking forward to you speaking. I don't want to say you're going to be like one of my favorites, because I want to interview everybody too, but I'm like really looking forward to this, and I want to hear about Antarctica and all. So thank you very much for taking the time to do this. And people can reach you. Well, they better come to that conference. The tickets are on contact2022.com, or you could even call me here at Mystic Dream 702-272-1319. Or if they want to even get more information about you, what's your website, Brad?
sure. If you want to know more about what I'm up to, different projects I'm involved with, bradolson.com, which also includes the conferences I'll be speaking at. And if you want to look at my books and some of the other authors that are published with CCC Publishing, just go to cccpublishing.com. And any books ordered off that website, they go through my office, and I'm able to sign copies for people on the way out. So,
that's very good.
and
Right.
of course, at the book table at Contact 2022, I'll be signing copies for people there as well.
Yeah, you're a busy guy. Like you're constantly talking or doing events like all the time. So I really appreciate you taking the time to come to Sedona the end of May. So thank you. And thank you for watching, everybody. And I hope to see you. And Brad does too. Come get some books. Okay.
Yep.